What?
All right. Steven!
What? What the hell was that?
Are you getting an echo?
No.
I'm hearing things in a massive delay.
I'm fine.
Jesus Christ. Okay, everything I'm hearing is echoing back in a... I don't know what the hell's going on right now.
Take off the headphones.
Okay, but then I can't hear you, though.
Well, yeah, take them out of the thing and then use the computer thing instead of the headphones.
It's nothing to do with that. It's... Hang on. I don't know why it's sounding like that right now. Hang on. Sorry, everybody. I can't even hear anything, though. Okay, hang on. Steven, we got to start this over again because I'm hearing everything delayed back to me.
Okay, so are you going to, log out?
Yeah, I'm going to log out real quick. Sorry, everybody. Hang on one second.
Hello, welcome to our live stream where I am doing a fantasy football draft at the exact same time as we are going to talk about Micah Parsons getting traded to the Green Bay Packers. Hello to all the 15 viewers out there so far. So this is going to be the most boring thing ever. This is going to be the first podcast where I just do a whole fantasy draft live and I just make my selections in front of you. So I'm feeling pretty good right now about my team. Okay,
I figured it out. You know what happened?
No, what?
Well, I was copying the link to our YouTube.
Uh-huh.
I still had our YouTube up.
Oh.
I'm an idiot. Let's start all over again. Steven!
Damn, dude. I was about to do a whole podcast just doing my fantasy draft live.
I know.
Just explaining my thought process. It would have been magical.
Okay, let's start all over again for the podcast's sake. Hello, all the YouTube audience. All right, edit, cut. This is for the podcast version. Steven! Yesterday, you mocked me. You told me that the news about Terry McLaurin getting his contract and Trey Hendrickson getting his contract was not real news. It was not important. It didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. The only thing that matters is when trades go down or something that we didn't plan or something that impacts the NFL itself. What do you think now?
Yeah, I still defend myself mocking you for those moves, but like I said, this is one of those serious ones where it's like, okay, now we got something to talk about.
I'm with you on that one. What's going on, everybody? Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. We're back at it again.
McMillan. Do I go Tedorow McMillan?
And Steven's doing a draft right now. I would not draft Tedorow McMillan. I wouldn't draft him. In what round?
Ooh, I'm deep in the draft now, dude. What round are we in? Ooh, I'm up. We're in the seventh round.
Okay, who do you have so far?
I got so far in my wide receiver core, I got AJ Brown and Marvin Harrison Jr. And I also got Bijan and James Cook as my running backs. I also got Sam Laporta as a tight end. I feel like Tedorow would be like a nice, classy option.
I don't know about him, man. I didn't like him in college, and I don't know about him his rookie year.
Yeah, no, true. This is a guillotine league, too. Uh-oh. Time's running out. Anyway, Continue.
We'll get to your draft. Yeah, we'll get to your draft a little later. As I forgot you were doing a fantasy draft tonight, but news broke. So just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. We're coming at We're coming on again because I did not. What?
I went with Ricky Pearsall.
What the hell are you doing? What?
I panicked. I hit Ricky Pearsall.
Instead of. I actually like that move a lot better than Tedorow McMillan. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to be on for a little bit of time. As Jesse says, yeah, riveting stuff, guys. I agree with you. Just want to get the reaction of the just ridiculous trade today. Micah Parsons, after all the hoopla, after everything that was discussed, he ends up getting traded to the Green Bay Packers. And this was a rumor for a little bit of time. My guy, Ricky Scoops, who Steven hates, had this a couple weeks ago saying this is on the table. And I guess things came to a head today because we got some news that Adam Schefter and Todd Archer and Dan Graziano all, combined together to get a story out there that the Dallas Cowboys were actually entertaining the idea of trading Micah Parsons. And then like an hour later, it happened. And I'm shocked by this. Micah Parsons gets dealt to the Green Bay Packers for 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark, a good defensive tackle. As Jerry Jones has been saying, I haven't seen the press conference yet, but from what Jerry Jones was saying, they needed to stop the run, so they wanted this guy bad. They didn't have to give up Rashawn Gary. They didn't have to give up, any of their other great players on defense. I thought the Green Bay Packers were going to be a pretty good team this year. I don't know about Super Bowl contender, but now, yeah, you best believe they definitely are. So, yeah, man, I think this is nuts. Just your reaction, Stephen, while I get all the particulars together.
I thought that Manchester was down bad as far as a sports city. I don't know if you saw it, Derek, but Manchester United, the very famous soccer team, ended up losing to a team that's in like the 4th tier. So like Manchester United's in the top tier, right? English Premier League. This team they lost to, like Grimshaw City or something. I don't even remember what it's called. But they're like they're down at like think of like if a major league team lost to a single A team. Like that's essentially what happened with Manchester United. They lost to a 4th tier team. And I thought Manchester fans were down bad. But oh boy, I think Cowboys fans have taken the cake. Cowboys fans are down bad right now, or at least they should. And if they are on board with this move, that is just a sign of coping. Like Derek, we sometimes get hyperbolic on the podcast, and more often than not, that hyperbole doesn't really come true. There's sometimes nuance to things, and you compared it to the Luka Doncic trade, but being a Raider fan, I just can't help but think of the Khalil Mack trade. And obviously I'm not talking about the value. I'm not talking about any of that, but more so talking about how this is the type of move which just feels like the start of the end, the beginning of the end. Because that's what it was with the Raiders, right? Like it took them a few years to get back to wherever they wanted to be after 2018. And I don't know where the Cowboys are going. I don't know if they're going there fast. If they get this first round pick, if these get these first round picks, so what in 2026 and 2027? If the Packers end up good, then what are they? Late first rounders? How valuable are those? Unbelievable, dude. Just unbelievable.
Yeah, man. Yesterday I said that if they did this deal, this would be on the level of Luka Doncic. And by the way, you referenced Man U. Not only did I know about that, Stephen, I had Ray Ratto tell me that was the biggest story in all of sports right now as he came on the show yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah. See, I knew a little bit about it. My first thought was Khalil Mack as well, but it was a different deal, man. Like, it's funny. We were talking about that in the summertime 7 years ago, and the amount of, total guaranteed money now given to defensive players. I mean, it's astronomical compared to what the Raiders weren't willing to do back in 2018. But the reason they traded away Khalil Mack was because they were just cash poor. They didn't have the escrow that most teams wanted. And we love that word, Stephen. That's one that Adam Kaplan threw at us a million times when it came to the Raiders and not paying Khalil Mack. So they traded him to the Chicago Bears for 2 first-round picks. The Raiders had to give away a second-round pick, I want to say, in the process. I never understood that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Micah Parsons gets dealt for 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark, and he gets a 4-year, $188 million deal. And the guaranteed money is $136 and he gets paid $47 million a year. That surpasses TJ Watt at 41 a year or 41 and a half, whatever it might be. But yeah, for the Packers, this is a no-brainer. 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark. Yeah. I mean, to me, if I was a Dallas Cowboys, it would have been like 3 first-round picks.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done. But the fact that they did this,
more players that can help you win now. The thing with the Luka trade is their reasoning was because they're bringing in Anthony Davis, who I think there's going to be a lot of arguments as to whether he's a potential Hall of Famer. But you think that you pair up him, I believe, who else was involved in the trade? Who I can't even remember who they got from
so long
LA.
ago.
But Anthony Davis was the big part of it, and
Mhm.
that was the selling point, and they wanted to win with defense. This move doesn't make any sense. Like, all they say is they want to stop the run. Okay, but who's to guarantee that these next 2 draft picks are going to help you stop the run? If you wanted to get better at stopping the run, why didn't you get one of their players along with Clark, who's also good at stopping the run? One player's just not enough.
Why didn't you address that need in the draft? You whiffed on, who was it, Mozzie Smith, the guy from Michigan,
Yeah.
and he didn't pan out at all. So now you want to, we got to stop the run. We have to get Kenny Clark. Like, the way they're trying to justify this, it's laughable. Like, Jerry Jones, I saw snippets of the press conference where he still refers to him as Michael, and Stephen Jones, his much younger, well, obviously, son, says to him over and over again, it's Micah. It's Micah. And it's kind of like Al Davis at the end. Not kind of, it is. It might be worse even. I could have never imagined Al Davis trading away a player like this. Like, if Al Davis was running the Raiders back when they traded away Khalil Mack, he would have never done this. He would have paid Khalil Mack.
Mhm.
But I hear the arguments that people are making where, well, the Cowboys were going to be bad regardless. Yeah, you could see it that way. Like last year, what were they? 7-10, whatever they were. And they were going to run it back with Dak and CeeDee Lamb and paying them ridiculous money and paying Micah Parsons the highest paid contract non-quarterback wise. Yeah, it probably would have been ridiculous to just do it over again. It would have been insanity to do the same thing over and over again, to pay players on a bad team. But if that's the case, why wouldn't you trade Dak then? You probably would have got more value for Dak if you're trying to do a rebuild thing. But then again, it doesn't look like they're doing like a real rebuild. And at the same time, if you think it's, if you're trading away one of your best players, why would you trade for George Pickens? Are you just going all in on offense? That's the goal, is to be a high scoring offense and then figure it out defensively later on. Have Matt Eberflus try to scheme it up the same way that Robert Saleh has to do it this year. I mean, Robert Saleh has more standout players than the Cowboys do at the moment. He still has Nick Bosa, still has Fred Warner. Who's on the Cowboys right now? It's who's Dante Fowler, and I couldn't even tell you right now. Trayvon Diggs, and we're going to have subpar defensive ends filling in for Micah Parsons this year.
Yeah.
So I think it's ridiculous that this happened because Jerry Jones thought he had a handshake agreement with Micah Parsons over a contract. And in the end, he was pissed off and went back to his agent, and Micah wanted more money. Because, Steven, I do give you kudos, man. You were right with Jerry Jones. He, at the time they negotiated, when they did the handshake agreement.
This is nice.
When they did the handshake agreement, the amount of money that Jerry Jones was offering Micah Parsons was 40.5. So at the time, it was the most money offered annually for a defensive player. But as it stands today, no, it's not the case. The price went up. TJ Watt makes 41. We'll see what Aiden Hutchinson gets now that this number is so ridiculous at 47 annually that now the Lions will be like, all right, we'll give you 42. It seems that much better. So you were correct about that. I'm sure that David Mulugheta was, snooping around other teams and being like, what would you offer for Micah Parsons? The Packers are like, we'll give you 47. And he goes back to the Cowboys and is like, 40 is too low for us. And then Jerry's like, I already agreed to 40. Micah shook my hand. I'm not going back on that. That's an agreement we have. I don't want to make this analogy too in depth because I know that some people will think otherwise of what I'm talking about. Kind of reminds me of Django with Leonardo DiCaprio. And I'm not just focus about what I'm talking about here. At the end of the movie, when is it Colonel Schultz gets shot? Christoph Waltz character. They're ironing out details about the transaction they made. And Colonel Schultz is like, yep, I'm good with everything. Yep, we're going to leave right now. And then Leonardo DiCaprio says, uno momento, my friend. In the South, we have an agreement here. We shake hands. None of that legal shit matters. A handshake agreement's what's important here. And, of course, it ends with Christoph Waltz getting shot. And he's like, I just can't shake that guy's hand. To me, it's kind of like that with Jerry Jones, where to him it's like, we shook hands. That's so sacred to me. And now you're going to go back on that? How dare you? Who gives a fuck? At the end of the day, the agent needs to okay this. So I'm just baffled that, Jerry Jones did this. But then again, why should I be? Because I, talked about Ray Ratto earlier. He came on with us, and though he brought up Man U, he also said the most compelling thing in sports right now is Jerry Jones insane? Is he not senile? It kind of seems that way today.
Yeah, this is like Al Davis taking Jamarcus Russell #1 overall. Like, this is an owner who's clearly at the end of who's past their prime. I just stumbled my way through that. Who's past their prime, and time has kind of run out as far as how impactful they can be on an organization where they're only hurting it as much as they're helping it while they're still in the role as the primary owner. And I know that the Jones family makes these decisions, and Jerry's the patriarch, but it's a great analogy by you, the Django one. It's tremendous. Good stuff.
I just don't want people to read too much into it, if you know what I mean.
But see, when you're talking about how this doesn't make any sense, what's the plan here? Did you have a plan? I think their plan was to keep Micah all along. I think at the end of the day, this was just a move of ego. And I think that this is Jerry Jones trying to tell the media, hey, we have our reasoning for doing this, where in reality, he was just embarrassed that Micah was laying down on a training table and that the Cowboys were kind of a laughingstock for the way that they were handling this entire thing. And I think they just up and said, all right, that's the last straw. We're done. Like the Jimmy Johnson thing. I'd like to talk to somebody. I mean, maybe one of the people in the chat could let me know, because I wasn't really cognizant of what was going on at the time, because I was, just a 1-year-old, wasn't really paying attention to the implosion of the Dallas Cowboys when Jimmy Johnson left. But Jerry Jones's reasoning was that he could win a Super Bowl with 500 other head coaches with this team that they've put together. But really, it was a battle of egos and stuff going on behind the scenes. And I think this was kind of a battle of egos. And I think the Jones family got embarrassed and they traded him. Like, that's where I come down on this, because no sane organization would pull off this move if it made any sense.
Yeah, I think that the only organization that could pull this off is an organization that has an owner act as the general manager. And even though Stephen Jones is the guy that works out the contracts, it's still Jerry Jones picking the players and trading the players and signing the players. To me, yes, a lot of shit happened in the last week where Micah Parsons was laying on the trainer's table during the game, and he made a mockery of the whole thing. Like, in hindsight now, it was bad. Like, was it as bad as some people are reacting? No, but at the same time, like, yeah, you're kind of showing everybody up by just sleeping and not giving a shit, walking into the locker room with nachos. Apparently nachos that were bought at 7-Eleven, because the concession stands weren't even open yet. So he was just kind of walking around not giving a shit.
Man, those are desperation.
I also think, yeah, I would agree. If you're going 7-Eleven nachos, ugh.
If you're going nachos, 7-Eleven nachos, oh boy, you're desperate for nachos. You're making it. Those are desperation and statement nachos. That's what those are.
Yeah, I'm willing to put my body on the line because I'd rather eat 7-Eleven nachos than probably the spread that's available in the Cowboys locker room.
Statement nachos.
Statement nachos. Even like pizza at 7-Eleven's. I want to go that route. To me, also though, I think that this has been in the works for quite some time, because you just don't trade Micah Parsons today. Like, I know that the report came out from multiple people that they were listening to trade offers, but you don't make a blockbuster trade like this go down in a matter of hours. Maybe you do if you're Jerry Jones. Maybe you're that mad about the whole situation and how Micah Parsons is, basically making fun of you. And then again, I don't really feel that way, because Micah could do a lot worse. He could go on any talk show and just totally rip Jerry Jones. He could go on his podcast and do that as well. But he stayed silent. It was Jerry Jones making a mockery of himself, going on, First Take with, or maybe not First Take, but with going on with Stephen A. Smith and going on with Michael Irvin, saying that the agent told him to shove the contract up his ass. So yeah, I think that Jerry was trying to justify this thing. He came up with a good excuse in his mind that they had a handshake agreement and he didn't, respect that. So they're going to trade him now. But I think, honestly, I'm sure he and his family were behind closed doors and they're like, does it really make sense for us to pay Micah? Do we think we're that good? Why don't we trade him? And then we could get some pretty good draft capital. And now I think they're trying to justify it by saying he was a malcontent in the locker room, how he didn't really play well in playoff games. He cared more about his podcast than anything else. So they're trying to run this guy's image into the ground. When we saw Jerry Jones, if you keep watching that Cowboys documentary, he goes up to him, funny enough, after they lose to the Green Bay Packers at home. And Jerry says, this is one of the worst losses of my career. And he goes to Micah and says, you did nothing wrong today. You did nothing wrong today. You were fantastic. So, yeah, it's crazy, man. Yes, it's reminiscent of the Khalil Mack trade. I think it's even more reminiscent of the Luka Doncic trade, because why would you trade a player of that caliber so young because of just little nitpicky shit that you don't like about him? Khalil Mack,
he was fat, Derek.
He was fat, but also Khalil Mack just cost too much. At the time, I get that. But God, if we were living in today's salary cap, look, Jordan Love's making $55 million a year. Now they're paying Micah Parsons $47. Yeah. This is how you get better. You have to do contracts. So yeah, man, it is fucking nuts that this trade actually came to fruition. I'm shocked that it happened.
Yeah. So where do you put the Packers now?
Well, we already did we already did our NFC North preview. But we're gonna do on Labor Day at 1:00. We're going to pick our division winners and Super Bowl champions and everything. I think they're right there now, man. I think they could probably contend with the Eagles and the Lions and the really good teams in the NFC. If I had to rank the NFC teams right now, I'd still go Eagles number 1 because they won the Super Bowl a year ago.
I'd go Lions because they're getting Aiden Hutchinson back.
Yeah, I would go Lions 2 just because I think they have more talent.
I think missing Hutchinson, we don't pay attention to that enough. We just focus on the Lions saying they lost in the divisional round and they lost their coordinators. Like, they're not going to be as good as next season. But we forget that they lost their game-wrecking edge rusher. Like, once they get him back, I think I still put them as second, but I don't think I'd hesitate to put maybe I would hesitate to put the Packers third. I don't know.
I mean, the only thing that I don't know 100% on is the receiving core. They're very young. I think they should be talented. I think they are talented. I think they should be good, but I don't know 100% yet. But they got Josh Jacobs and they got Micah Parsons now to team up with Rashawn Gary. Mm-hmm. They cut Jair Alexander, but they picked up Nate Hobbs. They should be good, man. I think they're right behind the Lions. So yeah, if I had to rank it right now, I probably would go Eagles 1, Lions 2, Packers 3, Rams, Commanders, pick the other teams after that. But yeah, Packers catapulted themselves to the top of the list right now after today's move.
God damn.
And by the way, just watching the documentary too and thinking about, this is what the Cowboys, the complete opposite of what they did back in 1992, where Charles Haley was a malcontent with the 49ers, wanted to get the hell out of there. I told the story, I think, last podcast where he pissed on the executive's desk and said, get me out of here. Then they traded Charles Haley from the 49ers to the Cowboys. And it was the worst decision they made because that's the reason why they kept losing in NFC championship games. It wasn't until 1994 when they acquired Deion Sanders that they got over the hump. To me, this is very similar. Not that I expect Micah Parsons to, start a dynasty for the Packers or anything. That could happen. But you trade him inside your own conference to a team that kicked your ass 2 years ago in the postseason.
Yeah, and the team that you're going to be playing on Sunday Night Football Week 4.
Exactly, dude. Like, that's going to be so highly rated. In the first game of the season, too, Lions at Packers, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. Like,
I'm picturing all the Dallas Cowboys. Jesse can attest to this because I watched the documentary mostly without her, but a little bit with her, and she wasn't paying attention. She was just kind of on her phone and kind of gazing up every now and then. But she was freaked out by how much I was laughing because of the Cowboys fans punching their TV. just walloping their TV
Yeah.
and breaking it. Like before it became like this staged thing where someone has a broken TV, so they decide they're going to punch it and pretend like they're punching it out of anger, but really they're just doing it for clicks. No, that Cowboys thing was before all the clicks. This was when the TV punches were real. They were authentic. And I could see a lot of TVs being punched. This is what's funny about this. On like a day of like a Super Bowl, you know, that old joke where it's like, oh, there's going to be a lot of babies born 9 months from now. There's going to be a shortage of babies born 9 months from now in Dallas. We should look at the numbers 9 months from now and see what the baby numbers are looking like. I bet you they're down.
Oh, I think it's the complete opposite, man. I think when
you think babies are going to be made out of spite?
Absolutely. I think that there's going to be people in bars tonight just drinking their ass off and being like, God, I need to pick me up. Anybody want to have sex with me? And it's going to lead to a massive orgy.
There's going to be a lot of mistakes tonight.
Yes, there is. But yeah, dude, it's like that. It reminds me of Charles Haley, where you just make a massive mistake like that and just changes the course of history, really. It changes the NFC. It changes everything. So I also saw that.
Could you imagine if Jerry Jones just went into his press conference and was like, well, Micah came in and just jerked off on my desk.
He pulled a Charles Haley on me. He just came in and started going to town on his hog, and I can't have that in my franchise. Come on now.
He peed all over Steven's chair.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I hold tours to fans. So simultaneously, when I'm bringing in a family of 4 to look at my office, I got Micah Parsons beating off. Can't have that. I need to watch the rest of that documentary.
At the entrance of the AT&T Stadium.
Yeah. I saw also that the Packers made the best offer. The Raiders were right behind them to making a good offer. But you know what? I'm glad they didn't, because they're not ready to win yet. Like, I'm glad that they're all in on all these big moves. Like, Tom Brady is definitely rubbed off on the franchise, where they go after Matthew Stafford. They're trying to go after Ben Johnson. They're trying to win right now. And, they come up second, but at least they're going for it. So they're going to establish themselves this season, and then they can see if they can get better players. But yeah, man, Micah Parsons going to the Packers. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, it's nuts, dude. It's insane. It's all the things. It's improbable. It's amazing. It's hilarious. I was around. I was at the Giants game today, and I was hanging out with Nick, who works for the 49ers, and he was with a bunch of people who also worked within his department, and they were just kind of taking a little day before, trying to just get a break before the storm that is the football season, when they have to start working daily. And as soon as they found out about this Micah trade, I'm like, oh damn it! like that's gonna make it so much harder. Cowboys weren't even a threat if they signed Micah, but now the Packers are more of a threat than they've ever been. Now,
yeah, no, absolutely, they're going to be a good team this year. I'll wait till we go through our predictions on Monday at 1:00, but I think they're going to be a really good team this year. So dude. So yeah, we came on here just to do a little quick podcast, just to get the reaction out there, because I did not see this coming whatsoever. And I said last night, that this would be the dumbest trade if they did this. It is a dumb trade. Are you with me that this is pretty much the NFL equivalent of Luka Doncic?
Yes, except I'm still waiting to see how Luka plays for the Lakers when he's skinny. I don't know.
Just to say that he's going to be good or bad?
I'm waiting. I don't know. I want to see what skinny Luka looks like when he
No.
can't.
You don't get to hold on to your take, like later down the road to see how the trade pans. I'm just talking about potential of a player, a team that went to the NBA Finals. They trade him away in his prime. It's very similar, and he played in Dallas.
I would say the Luka one's worse. Honestly, I'll say the Luka one's worse just because it's all Dallas had, and because of the shortage of teams. Like, you got 22 players on the football field, you only got 5 on a basketball court, and you traded one who's generational in his prime. So I would say that the Luka one was worse, but this is right up there, and it doesn't make it any easier for Dallas fans, regardless.
Yeah,
God, what a 2025 for them.
Oh, man. Alrighty. Yeah. Enjoy, God, all the sports shows tomorrow. I mean, Funny enough, me and Steven were texting about the death of sports television with Bussin' with the Boys going to ESPN now, trying to rival Dave Portnoy.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot of podcasters on TV. Not us, but you're going to see, established podcasters on TV now. But man, are they going to thrive tomorrow? The podcasters, the TV shows, the First Takes, the Get Ups, every show, the Pat McAfee's, they're going to revel in it tomorrow talking about this. And listen to all the clips of Dallas Sports Talk Radio because it's going to be just beautiful.
Yeah, and I got to concede that the one time Stephen A does make me laugh is when he's crapping on the Cowboys. And I think this one is, it might be an all-timer on First Take tomorrow.
I think so.
I hate to point people to that show, but
yeah, I'm with you.
It is funny when he does that.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. This is a quick one. We'll be back on Monday, and we're going to go through. We're going to preview the AFC West because that's the last division on our list. We're going to pick all of the division winners in the NFL. We're going to give our Super Bowl matchups. Going to see who we're going to pick all the awards. And we're going to be joined by two of our good friends to talk Raiders of 49ers. Alon Desai is going to join us to talk Raiders, and our good friend Tommy Call going to hop on to talk some 49ers, maybe a little Finners as well, as he's a Dolphins fan. But we'll do that on Monday. We'll see you guys at 1 o'clock. And let me go through everybody that came on. Skills Report, Rocco Nuera, Ernie Chavez. I think that's it for a brief one. All right, everybody, we'll see you on, and of course, Jesse to tell us that the show sucked to start. All right, everybody, we'll see you on Monday. Steven, say what you always say.
It's just our opinion, man.